Thank you so much, G. Well, we're keeping it in space as SpaceX, the aerospace company founded by the tech mogul and South African-born Elon Musk, wants to get you online anywhere in the world and with broadband-like speeds using Starlink, a next-generation fleet of internet beaming satellites. It sounds like a mouthful and everywhere, but do not worry because Grant Hines is here to talk about what this new venture is all about and what it means for us.
Firstly, Elon Musk's voice, he hasn't really lost his South African accent.
Really?
It's still there.
Kudos
It's weird.
To that, man. Proud, brother, proud.
It's weird.
It's so true, though.
It's like, every time I hear him speak, I go like, this guy sounds weird. Like,
No, I love it. So listen, man, what is Starlink? Like, what's
okay, so
the
Starlink is this really exciting, as I have these indifferences. I don't know if I like Elon Musk or not, but anyway, but this is a very cool project. And he's not the only company to set this up, but Starlink's probably going to be the one to actually do it. It's an array of satellites that we're going to launch into space. Well, SpaceX is going to launch into space that are kind of like a network for you to access internet anywhere in the world. Because right now, internet infrastructure relies on us to have cell towers, which are only at like a certain range. 5G towers, which are actually a smaller range because they're a lower frequency bandwidth to 3G and 4G. And then fiber or ADSL, which is copper cables and then physical cables.
Yeah.
So if you're in the middle of nowhere, internet is kind of impossible. I know there are people watching this, especially in South Africa, that are just in the middle of nowhere going like, man, I really want fiber, I really want fast internet, and this is a great solution to the problem. So the difference is these satellites are lower in orbit to traditional satellites or normal satellites so that their latency is better. Your latency is the speed with which, if you send a message, like you ping an email, that email goes up to a server and then bounces to the location it's supposed to. That is the speed with which it's done. We need really fast, it's called your ping. We need really fast ping in order to do any high, really important things with the internet. So if you're playing video games or if you're doing remote operations, there are doctors and surgeons that do remote operations, ping is essential. And it's really essential when you're talking about like remote areas. So imagine a doctor, a neurosurgeon that's based in Joburg or anywhere in the world, like the best neurosurgeon in the world, can operate on somebody in the middle of nowhere if they've got the facilities to access the internet. You know, like, so that's why this is so important. That's why Elon Musk is pushing this so hard.
Well, we'd imagine a safety element coming in here because it sounds like, I mean, especially places that I hike to and travel in the middle of nowhere, I don't have signal. So if something goes wrong, I have no connection whatsoever. Is this something that could potentially combat that, I would imagine?
It could. I'm not quite sure what the infrastructure on the ground is going to look like. The infrastructure in the sky, obviously, is satellites. The difference between traditional satellites and the Starlink satellite is that it's using laser technology. And laser is the speed of light. So it'll then be able to hit the satellite with the laser and then track the satellite as it moves, because obviously the satellite's going to move in orbit. And then when the next satellite appears, it's going to hot swap to the next one, right? Right now, when you are driving, you know when you're driving and you've got your hands-free on, hope, and you've got a phone call on and it cuts out like in certain sections or quite regularly. What's happening is that you're driving in a cell tower. There's only a certain amount of people that have access to that cell tower. It connects to it. You have a seat there, but you drive through to the next tower, and then your phone has to swap to the next tower. There might not be seats on the next tower, you know, like for your connection, or it might not be able to get that connection fast enough. So you're always like dropping. Hi, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? That's what's happening. Practically, there are literal towers that you have to hit. But now with these satellites, these lasers will just be light speed, just swapping between the two just above you. So I can imagine that soon we'll have that technology in mobile devices where that is possible, and then you will be able to beam for help.
Awesome.
I mean, we take the internet for granted because we just expect for it to be there. We never really look into the infrastructure put in place to allow us to communicate across the world. But I'm sure just like any other cell phone or internet provider, there are some disadvantages and advantages. When it comes to Starlink, what are some of the pros and cons that we need to look at?
I want to know line speed. How long? You know what I mean?
So like the line speed that I actually don't 100% know, but as far as what I've heard, it can go up to 1 terabyte, which is really fast. But the price is actually probably the biggest pro. Right now in beta, while they're busy working on it, it's about $100 a month to do that, which is extraordinarily cheap.
That's what we're paying
like 1.5.
Yeah,
Rands.
exactly. And like that's what most of us are paying for 1.5
He's like, it's extremely cheap. Ah!
grand in rands. So that might mean that like internet prices drop, and I know that there might be providers out there who are panicking about that, but it's good. I think data is one of the most important resources that we have to keep people connected and informed and give people opportunities for jobs and work. And if we don't make sure that data is cheaper, we're not going to be providing those opportunities. And as long as internet is expensive in any country, especially in our country where it's poor, we're going to have a huge barrier keeping before people can actually get work and get jobs, and we need to improve that. And solutions like this will really help. Sorry, I feel very strongly about that.
No,
stuff.
100%, and we agree with you. We do need access to the internet, particularly in underdeveloped countries within the African continent, because that's the one way we could be a part of the global community, the global village that is put together by the internet. So, data prices must fall.
Yes!
And then one of the biggest cons about this, that everyone must be really excited. Great, this is great. But it's actually going to be visible. And it will look like stars. So you'll see these lines of satellites in the sky. And astronomers are particularly worried because it might block the view. So one of the things that Elon Musk and Starlink are doing right now, SpaceX, is to try and work out ways to stop the reflections so they're not so visible. But it will come off as a trade-off.
Yeah. Wow, man, Grant Hines coming through with the business. Of course, we are going to be chatting some more tech later on in the show with Grant for one more, so stick around for that, where we bring you all the tech that is needed this year.